Well, hey, good evening, you guys. My name is Dominic. I'm the leader here at The Heart, and I'm so grateful for you to be here this evening. I know that we all have a ton of things going on during the week, so you making time to be here, to be in this moment together, it really means a lot. In fact, you're sitting right in the middle of the mission and the vision that we have here at The Heart, that is to connect people to the heart of God, and we have seen it and experienced it that happens best in these groups. Now, we are going to have a few questions tonight that are based on the message from Sunday morning. But if you haven't heard the podcast or didn't go to church or any of that, you could still be a part of the conversation just by being here this evening. So we were in week 4 of our series Awaken, and we've been in this idea of what it means to be awake, not just alive, but awake to the life that we are living, more than aware of what is going on, but awakened to what God is doing in us and through us, and what He can do in and around us. So what we talked about this Sunday was this idea of walking in our awakening. That maybe we don't need to wait for our awakening to happen to us. Maybe it's not an event happening in the future, but it's something we can experience now, a choice that we can step into now. So we had a couple scriptures that we went over. They were in the book of Acts chapter 10. I'm going to have the scriptures on the screen, and I want to if you're feeling saucy, okay, and you guys want to read through all of Acts chapter 10, it's the whole story of Cornelius and Peter. So if you're feeling crazy, you can read it, but if not, we just have the scriptures that we went on Sunday, which is Acts 10:4 and Acts 10:34, and I'll have those on the screen. So my first question for tonight, as we dig into this together, is I want you to describe a memory that you have of spending time with someone that you love, whether it's a friend or family, a memory that you have from when you were a child or a holiday or a vacation that you took, something, a fond memory, a loving memory, a great memory that you have of some people that you really love to be around. And I know that's kind of broad in general, and there's not really guiding, but I want you to just say what comes to your mind. And then what I want to do is I want to ask you, what makes that memory so special? Why do you think that's the memory that came to your mind when I said think of a time, a memory that you have where you just absolutely loved being in that moment with the people that you love? So let's take some time to go around the room and talk through that and see what you guys come up with. Okay, now in the spirit of broad general questions, this next one I want to ask you is: have you ever? This is a yes or no question, and then we'll explore it a little bit. Have you ever prayed or wished for something big to happen to you? Something in your life that you thought, as soon as this happens, if this one big thing could just happen to me, then things would be better. Then things would be okay. And if you're brave enough, I want you to tell us what was that wish? What was the big thing that you thought, as soon as this happens, things will be okay? And if it did happen for you, what has your experience been with that? And if it didn't happen for you, how did that shape how you relate to things that you wish for? This is connected to how we look at our awakening, how we walk in our awakening. Sometimes we think our awakening is this big event. So if that was something that you were wishing for, let's talk through what that wish was and what you hoped it would do for you. So I know that's a lot to kind of digest there. So I want you guys to take this question where it needs to go with your group and see what you guys come up with. All right. Now, one of the characters that we looked at on Sunday was this man named Cornelius. And if you haven't read Acts yet, go ahead and check out Acts 10, verse 4, and then also verse 34 is kind of Peter meeting with Cornelius. So you'll see it in the story there. But what I want to ask you is, after reading these verses, how does this interaction with Cornelius, how does Cornelius being noticed by God by doing these seemingly simple things of praying and being kind to his neighbors, how does that change the way? How does that change your perspective on what it means to have faith? Of what it means to communicate with God? How does it shift your perspective on maybe what looking at a hero of the faith is? Sometimes when we talk about heroes of the faith, we look at people like Moses who did these big, amazing things, people like David who slayed Goliath, and people like Jesus who performed miracles and was able to communicate the words of God. How does Cornelius being able to be talked to by this angel for seemingly these simple things, how does that change your perspective of what it means to be a hero of the faith? So let's talk through this and see what you guys think. All right. Now, as we wrap up tonight, what we want to be able to do is take what we are learning, to take what we are reading, to take the messages from a Sunday and even in this group, and how can we apply it into our life? We would like to be able to get smarter, and we love to be able to look for knowledge and know more things, but it's in applying those things that our life starts to change. It's when we apply the things that we know and when we apply the things that we learn that starts to shift how we interact with people, how we interact with our beliefs, and how we interact with our faith. So, in order for us to apply it, what we have to do is ask ourselves, how can we take this into our life? So, my question for you as we wrap up tonight is, what will you do this week to walk in your awakening? We talked on Sunday that sometimes an awakening is not an event, but it's a moment. It's a moment that we can experience where we look around us and we can see the beauty in the people that God has put around us, where we're out for a walk and we can see the beauty in earth, when we hear a baby laugh and we can hear the beauty in that, the human nature in that. So if we have these moments and we experience these moments every now and then, if we experience these moments, we can almost experience them every day. So I want to ask you is, how will you this week let yourself experience those moments? What will you do to take those moments and not just let them pass, but let them sink in, let yourself understand and realize that those moments are your awakening that you are walking in? What will you do this week to be aware of that? This is the last question for tonight, so I'm going to leave you guys with that. I hope you have a great rest of your week. We're going to be wrapping up our series, Awaken, this Sunday at 9:30 and 11. I want to invite you to bring someone with you this week. When you invite someone to church, when you invite someone to be a part of, and it's not even inviting them to church because there's a church building and there's plenty of churches in San Marcos or plenty of churches in the area. But when you invite someone to be a part of what you're doing, you're inviting them into your life, inviting them into your mess. And that means a lot to people. So I want to challenge you to invite someone to bring along with you this week, to bring with you to church, to be a part of what God is doing here in the city of San Marcos. All right. Love you guys too much. Hope you have a great rest of your week.